Alright, welcome to Saw. This is gonna be a fun one. So let's go ahead and get started. So, like any great game, we're gonna be starting this off with a quick time event. Pretty quick and easy. You can get stuck on the first part there, but that's not even gonna bother with that. Anyway, this game is a game that was developed and published by Konami, of all people, and it is a tie-in to the Saw movies. This one kind of takes place a little after the first movie. If you recall the scene where detectives Sing and Tap go to find Jigsaw in this old apartment complex, and Sing busts through a door that's rigged with a shotgun and gets killed. And then Tap gets his throat slit with a knife. This takes place after that. Tap has now been kidnapped and put into a Saw game of his own. The general premise for this game is there are 7 chapters, 7 victims, with us being the 7th, of course. And we are tasked with going through each gauntlet of Jigsaw's in order to save a potential victim. The first victim is going to be Amanda, which was Jigsaw's first victim who survived a test and later becomes his apprentice. That said, in this game, we find out that Amanda had gone back to using drugs, which is why Jigsaw captured her in the first place, and so he's put her into another trap. Before then, though, we've got plenty of antics to go through. This one is a potential spot that can go wrong. Anytime you're going to be in fisticuffs with an enemy, it is very much possible to end up getting a knockdown on them, which triggers a coup de grace. That actually loses time compared to just punching them. Probably about 2 or 3 seconds. Oh, whoops. And then this is another spot. Going into that room, there's actually a cutscene trigger just inside the doorway, but if you go in just enough, you can still reach the cart and grab that nail. You do need that nail to do the lockpicking section that we just did, which was actually pretty fast, but doesn't look like it compared to some of my other runs just because, well, I messed up and closed that door in my own face. But that's neither here nor there anymore. Let's keep going. Coming up here, we're gonna be grabbing a fuse out of here, so I gotta bust through a wall. And anytime I come to one of these, I have to go to the right-hand side because for whatever reason, hitting the right side of the wall makes it go down in 3 hits, whereas going on the left side knocks it down in 5. Now we're gonna be doing a small glitch here where we're gonna go in to this animation and back out right away and go back into it. What that does is typically you'll see an animation of Tap cutting open the guy's chest to get to the key. We don't have to watch that if we back out though. Instead, the chest will just magically cut itself open as we jam our hand right inside. Now we're coming up on one of my personal least favorite mechanics of the game, the balance beam. First, gotta say hi to my favorite guy though. And he's gone. But what I hate about this, it really doesn't matter too much for the speedrun because you're on controller, but on keyboard and mouse when you're playing this game casually, going across that board, you have to push your mouse forward in order to move forward, and then move the mouse left or right to keep your balance. So I hope you have a really long desk if you play this game, otherwise you will die. Plain and simple. Now this game did actually get delisted from the Steam store a few years ago. I was lucky enough to actually get a Steam key shortly after it was delisted from a third-party seller. So this is the Steam version of the game. Yeah, not really sure why it got taken down. Sure, it's probably something to do with licensing from the film company. But they did go on and make a second game too that was console exclusive, and that one is so much worse than this game. Like, way worse. Sure, you can stunlock every enemy in this game with just your fists. In the second game, there is no combat. Every time an enemy comes at you, you get quick time event after quick time event to beat them up. Anyway, we went through our first little puzzle there to get a coupler, and that leads us to probably the most time-consuming mechanic in this game, which are the coupler puzzles. So, this is our first one. As you can see, this one's pretty straightforward. You just turn it until it's all lined up and you're good to go. That said, there are a ton of these in the run. There are 3 different sizes for those coupler puzzles, the 3x3, which I just did, then there's a 5x5 and a 7x7. Those are hands down the biggest potential for time save or time loss in a run. If you want to get a high level run of this game, you have to have every possible layout of those coupler puzzles memorized, or at least be really quick in solving them. Because it turns out they aren't actually 100% random. There are 5 different possible layouts for each size. And each of those 5 layouts has 7 different orientations. So do the math. That's 35 per size, 3 different sizes. So 105 different puzzles possible for the coupler puzzles. That's a lot of stuff to memorize. When I'm practicing this game, I will go to a spot that has a bunch of 5x5s and 7x7s and just do them over and over and grind that out. And still I'll get into the run, get to a puzzle, and it'll take way longer than it should. But we're now on the end of the first chapter. Every chapter ends in what I would call a boss puzzle. This one is kind of just a pill dropper. So Amanda is attached to a machine that's filling her veins with toxins. And we are going to be coming over here, pushing antidote towards her while pushing the toxins away from her. The initial orientation of these droppers is random. This seems to be one of the okay-ish patterns. There are certain patterns where you go like right, left, right, left. And what that does is you see the blue filling the line on the right. Well, it's possible to get that completely filled and still be dropping pills on that side instead of being able to fill up the other side, and you just have to wait, and there's nothing you can do about it. But that's randomness. Phase 2 just adds a second drop to the left and bottom droppers. Just switches it up a little bit. It's not any more difficult, and it's not even random. It's based on what your positionings were when you finished phase 1. So just really more of the same. This should be over pretty soon. There we go. And now on to chapter 2. It's actually really funny in this game. Whenever you finish a section, that person will follow you around for the start of the next chapter, but they all go away very quickly too, and you'll see how that happens here. First though, we have to wait for this message to finish, so we're gonna go find a hypo. There is 100% of the time gonna be a health hypo in this area. It's just random which of those areas or which of those drawers it's gonna be in. But now we just sit and wait. The victim of this chapter is Officer Jennings. We worked together with him on a hit and run case that turns out Jennings was the culprit of. So Jennings got drunk at a bar one night, had to head home, hit a homeless guy with his car and killed him, and then pinned the crime on a local drunk when he and Tap were tasked with investigating it.
How did you know about that? I never told anyone.
You covered it up, but like anything buried, it just rotted away. Inside you, didn't it? Pushing away everyone you love.
There's going to be several of these moments in the game where we're just listening to Jigsaw talk about why someone is where they are. Oh, bye, Amanda. So now we're going to run backwards, because running backwards is actually faster in this game, but there's so few places that we can actually take advantage of that because there's so many turns and narrow corridors and stuff in the hall that can just get us stuck. Also, fun fact, the acid barrel doesn't actually damage you unless you fail the event. I don't know, I feel like an acid barrel should hurt, just saying. We're going to go ahead and drop our scalpel here. We're going to be coming back for it later, but we have to go grab a wheel for that valve first, because there's steam blocking our way. And if we don't move it, as Jigsaw just politely kindly told us, it will in fact kill us. Very quickly at that. So instead we're going to come in here, get surprise attacked by our good friend Pighead, who's going to also equip us with the latest in fashion accessories. So the contraption around Tap's neck at this point is a shotgun collar. And what it does is whenever we get within 10 feet of an enemy with a shotgun collar, both the collars activate. If the enemy stays within 10 feet, our collar will start blinking more and more rapidly until it goes off and makes our head explode. If we get 10 feet or farther away from the enemy, theirs will go off just like that. So we're gonna come back around and check his corpse to see... Oh, missed the valve. And we're gonna see if he has a hypo on him, because enemy drops in this game are random. Health is typically pretty plentiful, but, you know, if you can get a little extra, it never hurts, especially when it doesn't actually lose any time. This second chapter is also probably the most reset-heavy chapter in the run, for reasons which we will be coming to shortly. Very shortly, in fact. But first we have a timed coupler puzzle here. It gives you a minute, you don't need near that long. Just come over here, grab a coupler from one of these two lockers, and it's another 3x3. Simple and straightforward enough. We're coming up on the big reset point now. That being, well, one of the two big reset points in this chapter. This one being the steam maze. So we're going to be in this area where the steam is blocking our path forward. We have to take a detour to find another wheel to divert the flow of the steam. And you have to do that, I think, 3 times total. But turns out in this game, there's not really any collision with Tap's shoulder, so we just kind of dislocate it into the wall and squeeze between the wall and the steam that blocks the main pathway and just clip through it. Alright, see if this guy hits us. Please don't. Good. If that guy hits you, he has a scalpel and it'll deal half your health and damage. Alright, we made it. That is actually a lot harder to do than it looks. If you're even the slightest bit off, the steam will instant kill you, and you have to reload the last checkpoint, which is about a minute time loss. All right, now, is anybody an Evil Within fan? Because we're fixing to come up on a fan favorite, good old box set. Now, this is a little earlier than the Evil Within, so he hasn't had time to pump all the iron. He is a bit of a pushover. We're just gonna come up, slap him with the scalpel, and punch him. And there we go. So these guys are technically called berserkers because they're blind, but they do extra damage, and they have a lot more health. But the scalpel does so much damage. Hang on, there we go. The scalpel does so much damage, it leaves where we just have to hit him once and he's down. And the interesting thing about that puzzle that I just did, I screwed it up, but all but 2 of those dial puzzles are the exact same layout, just rotated. So if you know one, you know most of them.
Looks like you were quick enough to save yourself, but thinking about yourself is what you excel at, isn't it?
Okay, gonna grab this hypo here. That's another high damage item like the scalpel that only has one use. We're gonna be using that later. Here's a free skip for you though. Just come over to this corner and you can just warp right over to the valve, turn it. It only stops you from having to do the quick time event for that shotgun door, but anytime you can avoid an instant death, that's a good thing and you should not complain. This is another waiting segment, so use this time to heal up.
I was at a bar. I had to get home. He was in the middle of the street, just came right out in front of me. I didn't mean to hurt him.
You framed an innocent man.
He was a worthless drunk, a repeat offender. I did the wrong thing.
Justice will be served.
Oh my God! Help!
And we just finished with reset point 1, but we're already coming up on reset point 2. So what we're going to be dealing with up ahead is there's going to be a locked door going forward, and the person that has a key is behind another locked door that is on a minute and a half timer, somewhere around there. So we're going to try to do what we can to grab a bat off a guy, killing him with this hypo, and use the bat to hit the key guy through the cage door. And hopefully when we kill him, he'll fall close enough that he actually allows us to pick up the key through the wall as well. So got the bat, set up in this corner, get him to aggro, and this can happen. So the bat is supposed to go through the wall, but every now and then the collision will be weird and it won't actually do it. So we're gonna try to line ourselves up as best we can. Worst comes to worst, we just wait the timer out. It's only a minute at the longest. All right, but we got him. There's the key. Off we go. So now for Jennings' boss puzzle, we're going to be doing some gear placements. And we're going to be trying to do it quick enough to avoid the cutscenes that happen whenever the blade drops for the first time. So, there's one. Whoops. Alright. And we punch in between them just to get that little extra bit of distance during the cutscene. And this last one is the longest and hardest one, so hopefully we get this quick enough to avoid the cutscene. It's a really tight window. Alright, we got it.
Before you are two doors. Each will test your faith.
So welcome to clipping.
Or will you face a greater challenge?
We're going to be using this for an actual skip shortly. Right now we're just kind of wasting time because we do have to wait for Jigsaw to finish talking again.
Located all around you.
But we have two choices here, a blind area and a area where you can see, but there's a bunch of enemies. Obviously the blind area is the shortest, so you take that way. Oh, got stuck. But you can kind of cheese it and have your lighter out. Just don't get too close to the explodey barrels or you'll get caught on fire and lose most of your health. But just showed you what clipping looked like. Now we're going to put it to some practical use. This area, there's supposed to be a coupler puzzle that you have to go and solve to get to the next area. But if you line yourself up right with this table, you can just kind of pop up on here. It can be a little finicky, but this is looking really good. Alright. Yeah, that was really quick. Sometimes it can take like 30 seconds or so to do that, and it's still a time save, even then. Come over here, we're going to be introduced to poison gas. But we're not going to actually deal with it here. We're going to find the valve that we would normally use to turn it off. But we're going to save that valve for later, because we don't actually need to turn this off. We just go through this wall and there you go, not being poisoned anymore. So having that valve in our inventory will save some time and that we don't have to look for it later in a spot where you have to cover a lot more ground to find the valve. And by a lot more time, I mean you actually have to do another lockpick door to get to where the next valve is. We don't want to do that. Shoutouts to my second favorite guy. This guy just kind of despawns when you run past him. Bye. And my health is looking pretty good here. There is a water bottle that you can grab that restores a little bit, but I think we should be fine. We're going to be taking a drop up ahead that takes about half of our health. So we need to be careful with our health. Otherwise, we would just have to climb down a ladder, but climbing ladders is slow. Who wants to waste 3 seconds doing that when we can waste entire minutes listening to Jigsaw instead? Alright, got another instant death shotgun trap up ahead. Good. And this is the only glass that you cannot avoid. Grab a key right here. The other boxes will blow you up. Right.
You have the key to Cedar War. Find the angel to save her life.
And now, the hardest part of the game. Don't know how we're going to manage it, but this area is rigged to blow. We have 2.5 minutes to solve the puzzle. Oh yeah, I already know the combination. But yeah, this area is really not even that difficult to do normally. I could probably go back and do all of it right now if I wanted to, and still have plenty of time left over. You just find a way to get a room open with a fuse and look through a hole in the wall and see the combination. It's pretty easy and straightforward. Now though, we have some time to kill, so what I like to do in this time is just kind of practice my clipping, see what kind of stuff I can lodge myself up onto. Oh, that actually damaged me. I'd say this is probably the longest consecutive period of downtime in this run. That first aid kit on the wall there. Always empty. Doesn't seem like I can really get on top of this. Alright, what are we at? This chair is an easy one to do. Running pretty low on time. Can I get on here? Nah, we should go. Alright, bombs exploded. That puts a hole in the wall. Come through here, and there's going to be a key that we need to move forward. Inside another needle toilet. So let's just shove our hands right in there. When you're playing this game casually, don't mash A to open the door down these stairs. Wait until you're right up on it, because if you're not right up on that door when you open it, you will clip through the floor, fall through the world, and die. Alright, got a couple more tapes to listen to, so we're gonna practice some more clipping, see what kind of interesting stuff we can do. I've tried a lot to try to get on top of these little bulletin boards. I don't know if I can, but I have had some suspicious looking clips that looked like I was trying to, so I still always go for it. It's just a nifty way to save, or not save time, to waste time. Yeah, see, like that, there was that little stutter step. I don't think getting on top of the bulletin boards would actually do anything for the run. Actually, I'm almost certain that it wouldn't. But it's always fun to just play around with that kind of stuff. Alright, got another coupler puzzle, but the coupler here is randomized between 6 different locations in this side room here. Hopefully we get good RNG and it'll be in this first room. Alright, I'll take that. So this is our first 5x5. Oh, this is the easy one. I always love seeing this one. It's not the fastest, but it's the easiest to recognize and remember. Just hit this statue to get the key. And now there's actually some bandages on this table back here, so I'm going to grab that. If I have time, I'll try to get the hypo from the first aid cabinet. Alright, we got it. And now we're actually going to be doing a slight change of route. So typically here we try to preserve the gun until the final boss and just kill the final boss with the gun. Now, to avoid fist fights and the randomness associated with that, we're going to try to shoot this guy through the grating here. Got him. Perfect. You can actually just shoot the wall and it not go through, but that worked well. That probably saves about 10 seconds there. maybe more if you throw in the fact that you typically have to wait for him to explode. And now we're coming up on the final puzzle for this chapter.
He's the one. It's his fault all of this happened. I hate him even more.
This puzzle's pretty easy too. It's 3 slider puzzles. The first 2 are completely not randomized. The second one has 2 possible layouts, and both are about the same. It's maybe a 2-second difference for the bad one, just because it's got so many required movements that you actually have to watch a second cutscene. We'll see what we get though. Yep, so every so many of those X's that the box moves over, you're gonna see those cutscenes and get one more strike for the trap. It's pretty much impossible not to get any X's. You have to get at least one cutscene for each of these. But the second one, yeah, and we got that pattern. So the second one, we're actually gonna have 2 cutscenes because this layout has so many X's in the way that you just can't avoid a second one. That said, it also has the lowest movement time, so that's why it still ends up being pretty close to the same amount of time as the other layout. Really good chapter 3 there.
I can't forgive you for what you did to me, to Steven. We are all here because of you, Detective. I'm sorry.
As is the tradition, Melissa leaves us almost immediately. This is a relatively straightforward chapter. There's not going to be a whole lot to say about this other than we are going to be doing the only mandatory gearbox puzzle for this segment. And this is a possibility for losing time that you just can't do anything about. There's, I want to say 7 different layouts for this gearbox puzzle. I'd say about 4 of them are pretty straightforward. One of them is extremely easy. Actually, 2 of them are extremely easy, but 5 of them in general are, not bad. There's one in particular that's just absolutely terrible. You're going to lose time if you encounter it. But, I mean, a 1 in 7 chance, that's not awful, honestly. That's what, about a 14%? So, come up these stairs, we're gonna have to dismantle a tripwire. Listen to Jigsaw talk a little bit more. This is the dumbest puzzle in the whole game.
Reaches 0. Find the correct room before they detonate. One of these rooms contains the means to defuse the explosives. The solution to this puzzle relies on your point of view.
Yeah, so what he means by point of view there is you go into the bathroom, shut the door, and look at the mirror, and there's your solution. It tells us room 207 is where we need to go. So here we go. Okay, this one is actually one of the easy ones. So it actually took me a couple seconds to even recognize that that was one of the good ones. Typically when I get the good ones, I'll finish that puzzle at about 211, so lost a couple seconds. I'll take it.
We've done so much.
So Oswald, according to Saw Universe lore, is a journalist who wrote an article saying that Detective Tapp was Jigsaw, and that's why Tapp kept failing at catching Jigsaw. And of course, seeing as everybody wanted somebody to blame, everybody kind of believed it, and it ruined Tapp's career. You know, more than letting his partner get killed.
You might have survived the death of your daughter, Detective Singh, if it wasn't for this man. The man who created a phantom crusade against you. For no reason other than to gain fame and fortune. He has nothing without his empty words. But you, detective, are a man of action. Find the remaining pieces to the puzzle and assemble it here. The truth is right behind this door.
We do actually skip a kind of tedious puzzle in this chapter where we're supposed to move more pigs, but in a room that slowly kills us with ice rain.
I helped you, right? Helped you.
I don't know how else to explain that.
Whatever.
But immediately after that, you actually have a room where you have to move spotlights and figure out a lock combination that way.
Killed his partner.
But like all the others, we have the combination. You see it on the screen here, 206. So we get to skip doing all of that and just go straight to the puzzle piece that we need to grab.
With your constant insinuation
After we grab that too, we're going to be doing a kind of a risky strat.
or actions.
So we'll see how that goes. Right now it's looking good. You need most of your health in order to accomplish it. But it's also just really easy to stick the landing or really easy to miss the landing and get yourself killed that way. So gonna ignore these guys. They're gonna beat each other up. I actually like to play a game of who's gonna win. See who's alive when I get back down. So we'll see that when we get back. There's a balance beam right here that, fun fact, you actually just can't fall and die off of if you just hold forward. So you don't actually even need to balance on that one. Here's our keypad, 206. He's gonna try to punch us. Oh, he went twice. That's unusual. And now, ladders are slow, of course, so we're gonna try to just casually drop down and stick the landing. Ooh. Okay, sir. So, Rhino Man was the victor. He also decided that he wasn't done beating someone up yet, so he came after us and got a pretty good lick in. But now we're in the area where we needed that extra dial puzzle, or that extra valve for. So that lets us just come straight to this puzzle and do this really easy. We solve the puzzle before the gas even starts coming out. And now we solve a literal jigsaw puzzle. Because why not? This is really easy to lose time in. They're random, but you can only swap pieces 1-to-1. So you have to be kind of strategic and maybe not necessarily moving the piece directly to the spot where it needs to be in, instead doing like one away so that the piece that you're swapping it with is closer to its destination as well. That was pretty average, I'd say. And now, the boss puzzle for this chapter, more coupler puzzles. We have 3 of them. A 3x3, a 5x5, and a 7x7. 3x3s are always pretty straightforward. Let's see how the 5x5 is. Okay, I actually think this is one of the easier ones. Yeah, not bad at all. Alright, now the 7x7. Also casually moving through the cutscenes here, no big deal. This is the... No, this isn't the one that I hate. This is taking a lot longer than it should. Alright, we made it though. Still save time, that's... wow. Alright, but done with Oswald. Oswald is also going to leave us, but not in the traditional way. Sorry, Oswald. You will not be in Saw 2. Although I think he might actually be. I don't remember. It's been a good long while since I actually watched these movies. Now, Obi... Obi is annoying, both in character and in his chapter. This chapter is the easiest chapter to die in, I swear. Right off the gate, you have this tripwire that you can walk right into. And we're gonna grab a key out of a needle toilet again to go through a door where there's gonna be a drop. And if you position the drop right, you'll land on some debris and you won't take as much damage, but it's really difficult. So let's see. Well, it's difficult to do fast. Yeah, there I clipped the chain link fence and I didn't quite land on it, so that did extra damage. This guy's gonna come after us, but we're gonna try to just ignore him. Oh, he got us. Hypo? Got it. The shotgun color is honestly really convenient for dealing with enemies in this game, I've gotta say. Alright, drop down here.
Is this it? The test? A test. You waste your life looking for tests, looking for answers to your pathetic life. You waste your life looking for a way to be tested.
Well, that should have gone a lot better, but okay. Alright, so this guy, he can get a little bit annoying. We're gonna try to set up a tripwire to take care of him. Come right through here. Whoops. Alright, set that up a little too early and walked through my own tripwire, so that's great. At least the checkpoint is right here, so take two. The nice part about this game, at the very least, is for speedrun verification purposes, we remove the load times. So you see I have the two timers there. The bottom one is quote-unquote in-game time that just pauses the timer during the loading screen. So dying, you just lose whatever time it takes to get back from the checkpoint to where you were. So that shouldn't be too big of a deal as far as that goes. Honestly, of all the places I could have died this run, that's probably the best spot that it could have happened in.
Even in death, the hand will not relinquish the key. You don't have time for it to fall.
Alright, Boxhead was looking away from me, so we're good here. And perfect time to heal. Now, this is the big make or break point in this run. And this is why, another reason why Obi's chapter is so frustrating. So once this finishes, we're going to go through a series of rooms where we're going to be doing 5 coupler puzzles in a row. This first area is going to be 2 5x5s. So let's go ahead and get started on this. The second area is going to be 2 7x7s with a 3x3 and a poison room tossed in there just for the fun of it. So grab this coupler. Oh, missed it. Grab that when I turn around. Alright, this one again. We just did this one. That works out. Yeah, that was nice and quick. Alright, let's see how we do with the other one. Grab a coupler from one of these lockers, and it's the last one, of course. Oh, this is the single coupler puzzle. This one can be the most confusing one, but that actually, wow. I think that's the fastest I've gone through those 2 puzzles. So right now, this is looking really good. Alright, come in here. Got a little Easter egg for y'all here. Just turn the camera a little bit. There's Pighead, completely T-posed. If you move away from the door, he does the animation he's supposed to do, but until then, he's just completely T-posed. So, yeah. Alright, now another thing here is we need to look for an extra coupler for the final area. So, even when I get a coupler, so there's... Oh, I got both of them. That's really good. That means I don't have to look in the lockers in the back. But what the extra coupler does is, in the final area, there's one last 7x7 coupler puzzle that you have to solve. Oh, this is... That's right. These always throw me for a loop. Alright, that seemed okay. But what the extra coupler does is the final area, there's one last 7x7 to do in a poison cloud room. So if I don't have to look for the coupler there, I would really rather not. That's not in any of these. Okay. There's 2 cabinets back there. It's honestly really rare for the coupler to be back there, so I just tend to skip them to make it a little faster on me. Yeah, but whatever. Last 7x7 for this chapter, and it's the same one that I just did. Alright. Well, that makes things a little simpler. I swear, even when I do these fast, it feels slow because they're just so long. There we go. How much time do we have left on the clock? Oh, 5:18. That's really good. Okay, so I guess I did well on that. Alright, but we still have the boss puzzle for the chapter left, and that is going to be a series of 3 dial puzzles. The first one is going to be unique. Well, the first and third one are going to be unique, but the second one is the same one that we always do. So, come in here, burn the hand, get the key. And we should be able to just go straight from the cutscene into the dial puzzle. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah. Alright. Here's the one that we know and love. And the last one.
I need to do it myself.
Alright. That was really good.
Most people avoid pain and suffering, but not you, Detective.
So now we're at Jeff.
Relish it. You believe a life of pleasure
Jeff.
is a life wasted in bliss,
Jeff is a chapter.
useless to the rest of the world.
It's barely a chapter, but it's a chapter.
Only someone who has seen so much
So technically, this is the longest chapter in the game. There's this big long area where you have to take diverging paths and go down each path to find a light to solve a puzzle. But that puzzle gives you a code for a lock on the final door. So, you know the code, you skip the chapter.
You're throwing away your life.
So we're gonna come down to the start of the chapter, and there's our final door, so forget the rest of this place. Just pop that code in and we're on our way. And this is my least favorite chapter puzzle. This is 100% pure RNG goodness. It's a matching game. Alright, so heart puzzle. I'm gonna be saying this a lot out loud, don't mind me. Okay, so there's the heart, so puzzle shell, puzzle shell, puzzle shell, puzzle shell. Puzzle shell, foot shot. Oh, shit, shot. So puzzle foot. Puzzle foot, hammer, camera. Puzzle foot, hammer, camera. Puzzle. Okay. So really just puzzle camera. Camera, pill, film, camera. Puzzle pills. Tape, pills. There's puzzle. And tape. Oh. It skipped over the spot. Game, please. So that was actually really good RNG, and I screwed myself over. Yep. So that's entirely on me. That probably should have been a really good split. But we're now in the final chapter where we get to save ourselves. So let's see how well this goes. I fired one shot from my revolver, so I have 5 shots left. If I hit all those 5 shots, then finishing off the final boss with this should not be a big deal. It should only leave like a small sliver of health. That said, when we were killing the final boss with just the handgun, I always tended to miss a shot anyway, so we'll see how that goes. Also, if somehow the coupler puzzle rooms in Obi's area didn't give you a coupler, there's a random chance for a coupler to be in that desk there as an absolute last resort. Drop down here, and we're actually fixing to start our final boss fight, which is Pighead.
By sabotaging your game, he has the only key to escape my final gauntlet. Use your surroundings to defend yourself. What will you do then, Detective?
Alright, let's see how this goes. Just run up to him until we get a clear view. Oh, the first shot didn't hit. Okay, so we're gonna have to do a little extra. And, oh. Got the grab. That's gonna lose time. Alright. Should hopefully be able to stun lock him the rest of the time. When he hits you, there's a 25% chance of him grabbing onto you and doing that grapple. So, got unlucky there. Really got unlucky that I got hit at all. I thought that I hit him before he hit me, but it is what it is.
Pursue me, a living person, just as you are. Does this make you a murderer, detective? What will you do to catch me? Let's find out.
Got one last dial puzzle here. Again, same as it always is, but we have to wait for this one to open. Alright. Looks like it's mostly solved for us. Good. That's really good luck.
You are almost there, detective. This chapter of life
So we have to get one last key to make one last decision. We have two potential doors to go through. The door to truth or the door to freedom. Freedom, you open the door, game ends. That's it. Truth, you have to go through one last series of obstacles to potentially learn the truth of of Jigsaw. But, you know, this being saw, that doesn't actually happen.
time is wasting, detective. I won't wait.
At this being a speedrun, we're gonna go with the freedom door. So, go find the key. Do one last small skip here. We can climb up this ladder, and if we clip our shoulder through the wall like we did with the steam skip, we can come across this beam and just get to the... And I fell. Alright. Don't hit me, please. Good, thank you. And there you go. There's that skip. That saves about 30 seconds over just doing the maze. That said, falling off the ladder also loses about 30 seconds, so we're breaking even. And then this steam pops out, but you can just run through it. It's even if you are fast enough for it to hurt you, it's not going to kill you. Heal up. This is our poison room. We have our extra coupler, so we can just make a beeline straight for the puzzle, and we're going to try to do this in one health bar without healing. So what is our final puzzle? Okay, it's the easy one. I'm good with this. I'm still screwing it up somehow. That's great. But we got it. We're through. Nothing else that can hurt us anymore. That was cutting it a little bit close. More close than it should have been, but this is actually looking like it should be. So we're done with everything. We just got to get to the door and open it now, and that'll be GG. So time will be when I open the door. Skip this last cutscene here. And time. So overall, that was a pretty solid run, and this is Saw in a nutshell, so I hope you enjoyed what you saw. But till next time, this is Schmumbler. See ya.